2 weeks away until we have our mega event with Errol Spence going head-to-head against Sean Porter. Welterweight unification is on the line. That all comes away on Saturday, September 28th. It is a Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view from Staples Center in Los Angeles. What a main event, but we have a sensational co-main event and a loaded undercard. Coverage begins 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 Pacific time. And today we're going to be joined by fighters that are going to be involved in the co-main event, which will see the WBC super middleweight champion of the world, Anthony the Dog Dirrell, taking on the former unbeaten world champion, David El Bandera Roja Benavidez, also in action and who will be participating in today's call. Unbeaten rising sensation Mario El Azteca Barrios will collide against fellow unbeaten Batsier Akhmedov for the WBA Super Lightweight Championship. Tickets are going quickly. They are still available, and it's being promoted by Man Down Promotions, TGB Promotions, Sean Porter Promotions. They're available at AXS.com. Before we get an opportunity to hear from the fighters, let's talk to one of the hardest working men in entertainment. He is the president of TGB Promotions. TGB has had another tremendous year promoting events all over the world. Please welcome my dear friend, a man who knows boxing talent more than anybody, Mr. Tom Brown.
That's why I love Ray. Thank you, Ray. And thanks, everyone, for joining us for this conference call today. What I believe will be an extremely exciting night of boxing, all presented by Premier Boxing Champions on pay-per-view. And you know it's a big fight when you have it at the Staples Center, the home of big-time boxing. We have a spectacular undercard, and there's going to be nonstop action and a lot of excitement leading up to the highly anticipated welterweight unification bout. With veterans like Josecito Lopez and John Molina opening the pay-per-view portion of the show, and unbeaten Mario Barrios taking on the unbeaten Batar Akhmedov for the WBA Super Lightweight title, and WBC champion Anthony Dirrell against the unbeaten former champion David Benavidez. Any one of these fights could easily steal the show. So it's going to be a great night. I'll throw it back to Ray, and thank you again.
Thank you very much to Mr. Tom Brown. Always working hard, but we greatly appreciate his time. He's very excited, as is the rest of the world. Now, with today being Mexican Independence Day, I think it's only fitting and apropos that we have one of the biggest Mexican stars in the sport here to kick off today's call. David Benavidez has been quite active. He was on hand at yesterday's huge festival here in Los Angeles, celebrating the holiday, and was a tremendous hit with the crowd, greeting fans, signing autographs, taking photos. He is just 22 years of age, former super middleweight world champion, trained by his father, Jose Benavidez. They have tremendous chemistry with one another, certainly a winning formula. And talking about that winning formula, he was the youngest super middleweight world champion in history when he won the championship in 2017 by defeating Ronald Dirrell, most recently having come off of a very impressive second-round stoppage over J. Leon Love. That was as the co-main event of Fox PBC pay-per-view back in March. He's undefeated, 21-0, 18 wins, coming by way of knockout. Originally from Phoenix, Arizona, now training in Southern California. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of the fastest rising stars in boxing today. Here is David El Bandera Roja Benavidez. David.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it doing? I want to thank you guys for inviting me to be on here. And first of all, I want to say happy Mexican Independence Day. We always expected to see rain yesterday, and I was happy to see the guys and all the people celebrating Mexican Independence Day. And the fight is less than 2 weeks away, probably the biggest fight of my life, and I'm just very excited to be here in this position.
Thank you very much, David. Now we're going to go ahead and open up to the media if they have questions for David Benavidez. And as David pointed out, it is Mexican Independence Day. So many great fighters have fought around the holiday, and lo and behold, David is looking to make a statement on September 28th. And now to the media for questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question at this time, please press star 1. If you have a question at this time, please press star 1. Waiting for callers to join the queue. Our first question comes from Carlos Toro with the Fightful News. Please go ahead.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much for hosting us on this media call. David, it's been a year, almost a year, since the positive drug test result came out, and you certainly owned up to it, and you're now back into this position where you're fighting for a world title. What about you has changed between a year ago when you failed the drug test and now?
What's changed is that, I'm getting older, I'm more mature. I feel like the situation did more good to me than bad. And it's made me realize that everything could be lost. With over a day, you know what I mean? So it definitely took that to mature me and see that I'm not gonna, work my whole life, have my whole life's work taken away over one error. So I'm more dedicated. I'm gonna value things way more. And this is just a fight I want. Dirrell, he's a great fighter. He's a champion. I take nothing away from him, but I need these fighters. So I feel like, I'm older. I'm stronger than last year. I'm faster than last year. I'm smarter. My boxing IQ is higher. And when I'm put in these type of situations, I never fold. The best comes out of me. This is my second pay-per-view fight that I'm going to be a co-headlining, and this is where I want to be all my whole life. So I'm gonna take full advantage of this situation.
Our next question comes from Robert Rehar from the Magenta, Los Angeles.
Yes, hello. Feliz Día de Independencia. My question to you is, what would the Los Angeles fans would look forward to come to see you on Saturday? What would they see different from you against Dirrell that they didn't see in the first fight?
I've never fought Anthony Dirrell in the first fight. This is my first time fighting Anthony Dirrell. But the fans could expect to see me, the same David Benavidez I always see, exciting to watch, hard puncher, I'm going to make it a war. If Anthony Dirrell doesn't want to make it a war, I'm going to make it a war. I'm going in there, I'm looking for the knockout. I'm basically fighting in my own backyard, so I'm going to make my people proud with this fight, and it's going to be a hell of a fight.
Anything you would like to say to the fans that are going to come to see you from Los Angeles?
Yeah, it's basically, like I just said, I'm fighting in my own backyard. I have a lot of friends here, a lot of family here, a lot of people that support me. There's a lot of Mexican people here. So, I'm definitely going to be, this fight's going to be for them, and it's going to be an amazing fight, and I'm going to try my best to knock Dirrell out.
Can you give us a prediction?
What?
Can you give us a prediction?
Yeah, I just told you my prediction. I said I'm going to try to knock Anthony Dirrell out. So, I'm going to go in there. It's going to be a hell of a fight. Anthony Dirrell is no pushover. So, I'm going to do my best to knock Anthony Dirrell out, like I said.
Well, thank you for your time, and I'm sure all the fans will be cheering for you.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Carlos Toro from the Fightful News.
Hey, David. Sorry, I was kind of cut off for a little second, but the last time I spoke to you was actually in a media call from your last fight against Julian Love, and you mentioned how you never really felt like you never truly lost the title because you never lost it in the ring. Now, when you saw Anthony Dirrell win the title, what did it make you feel? Did you feel like maybe he was not truly the champion and it made you all the more hungrier to show Dirrell that you are the rightful WBC champion?
Definitely. I felt it as soon as he fought for the belt in February because I had fought, was it 2 or 3 weeks after that? So, it was very hard just to go through that, seeing him win a title that was mine. But, he's the real champion. He fought for the vacant title, so I'm not going to take that away from him. But knowing that was my belt that I have, I'm just coming in this fight very hungry, very motivated. I have about 3.5 months training. So I was very focused for this training camp. So this is the best David Benavidez that you guys are going to see, that you guys have seen actually. So I'm very excited to go in there and give a great fight and get my title back.
Thanks, David. Best of luck on September 28th.
Thank you, brother.
Our next question comes from Jeremy with fansided.com.
Hi, David. Looking over the last couple of years, you've had one fight in 2018 and now one in 2019. Do you feel like when you made your return bout against Jalen Love that any ring rust was there that you knocked off? Was it enough time to really knock it off, or do you feel like you really had to get that experience through your sparring sessions?
You know, with the last fight, when I fought Jalen Love, I'm not gonna lie to you, I wanted to get at least 5 fights, at least 5 fights, and at least 5 rounds in. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna complain for knocking the guy out early. But I've had so much sparring in this training camp and in the last training camp. For this training camp, I've had like at least over 200 rounds sparring. So, you know, I feel like everything came into place. You know, everything is going really good, and I'm just gonna be extremely ready. You know, I'm not gonna kill myself over the round because I didn't get enough rounds for the last fight. You know, I know exactly what I'm stepping into. We have an amazing game plan, and like I said, I'm just ready to go.
As far as some of the sparring that you've done, obviously the video with you and Sean Porter has gone viral. Was that more to help out Sean, or did you feel like he was offering you something in the sparring, that you were getting something that was useful to you as well?
I mean, definitely, if you're a great fighter, you could find things to try to help yourself. Obviously, I'm bigger than Sean Porter and heavier than him, so I wasn't trying to kill him. But the thing about Sean Porter that makes him so good is that he's a very good pressure fighter. You know what I mean? So what I was trying to do, I was trying to use a little bit more of my boxing skills, you know, just to work on that in case I have to use that in the fight for Anthony Dirrell. So you kind of have to see in what areas you have to work on yourself on. So I was definitely I was boxing around a little bit, you know, trying to stop him with my jab, you know, throwing a lot of jabs. So that we both definitely walked away with something good in that sparring session.
Final question. Obviously, there's been a lot of chatter between Caleb Plant and you back and forth. Is it hard to block out the surrounding noise from a guy like Caleb Plant to focus on an Anthony Dirrell, or is that something that you're used to and you just deal with it when time comes?
I mean, to be honest, I don't hear any chatter at all. I just hear, you know, some people saying that would be a good fight. I mean, him personally, he doesn't tell me anything, and I don't hear anything from him. So, you know, it's not hard to block something out when I don't hear anything to start off with. You know what I mean? But it's the same thing as him as everybody else in the division. Caleb Plant, you know, Anthony Dirrell, Colin Smith. There's all these fights are great fights to be made. You know what I mean? And it's not like it's hard for me to block these fighters, these guys out. You know, I just do what I'm supposed to do. I just train. You know, prepare for each fight that I have. So. Yeah, it's not hard at all. It's not like I hear them all day, but you know, just when it's time for those fights to be made, it's going to be made.
Great, thank you very much, David, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Gail with Communities Digital News. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, folks. David, I've seen video of you out this weekend at Fiestas Patrias, and the fans seemed very excited to see you, especially some of those kids. How important is it for you to make this effort? I mean, here you are training, the fight's coming up. You probably could have used a day off, but you're out with them. What's that about to you?
You know, it's not only just for me. You know, at the end of the day, when I fight, it's for the fans. You know, it's for the culture. You know, it was a big celebration yesterday with, you know, Mexican Independence Day. They were celebrating that yesterday, and then they asked me if I wanted to be there, if I wanted to go sign some pictures for some fans. You know, we ended up giving away some free tickets and shirts, and I said, yeah, you know, I'm in a position right now where I'm just blessed that people like to see me. You know what I mean? When I was younger, I didn't really think I was going to get to this point, but I've gotten so much love, you know, not only from the fathers, but, you know, from the kids, the mothers, everybody, you know, they like to see me and they support me. So definitely, as much as they support me, I'm going to go and support them. And I have no problem with signing. You know, we signed a lot of pictures yesterday. We took a lot of pictures, gave a lot of shirts up. You know, so it's very important to me, you know, just so I could be out there, you know, and they could see, they know that I'm out there, and they know I'm not going to be that type of boxer that's hard. It's never going to attend these events. I'm always going to attend these events, you know what I mean? Because I feel like it's very important to show the fans and the community that I'm out there for them, just like how they're there for me. So it's very something. It was a very special day for me yesterday.
It looked like a lot of fun. I'm sorry I missed that. How important also has it been this last year when you've been out of the ring to have your family around you, be in a boxing family that understands what it's all about?
It was very important. You know, me and my dad, we would, when I was out for a year, you know, because we boxed our whole lives, you know what I mean? So when we got suspended for a year, we really didn't know what to do with our time. Obviously, we trained, but it's like when you're training and you don't have anything coming up, you know, you just train, you go home, you talk about, you know, the mistakes that led you to that point. And I feel like, you know, I've matured a lot from that point, you know, just talking to my father being around me, supporting me, my family supporting me through this whole situation. And, you know, I feel like I'm very grateful just to have my family there with me, you know, always supporting me. And this is, at the end of the day, this is what I do it for. You know, I don't just do it for me. You know, I do it for my family. You know, obviously I do it for my legacy when I get older too. But I put my family before myself every time. So, I mean, everything that's good for me is good for them. And, you know, I'm very appreciative that they're there supporting me no matter what.
Thank you so much. Best of luck to you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question at this time, please press star 1. If you have a question at this time, please press star 1. Our next question comes from John Cutney with Reddit Boxing. Please go ahead.
Hi, David. So you've been pretty vocal that you're gunning for the knockout in this fight. I'm just wondering if you can talk about what gives you that confidence. Anthony Dirrell's been in with a lot of very good fighters. He's never come close to getting knocked out. So just if you can speak about your confidence in this fight, and also related, if you view this as your toughest challenge to date as a professional.
You know, I feel like, you know, I'm 22 years old, but everybody sees my strengths. You know, they know I have a good speed. You know, I'm very strong. I mean, I feel like with the confidence I have right now in my power, I feel like anybody who I hit, it don't matter who it is, you know, I'll hurt them. You know, I've trained very hard for this fight. You know, I have 3.5 months. You know, I haven't slacked on anything. My diet has been very good. My recovery has been very good. My strength and conditioning has been excellent. You know, so all these factors have given me so much confidence in my abilities. And also what gives me a lot of confidence is, you know, knowing that Anthony Dirrell hasn't been stopped, knowing that nobody's knocked him out. You know, so I want to push myself to the absolute limit and do something that not everybody has done. Anthony Dirrell has never been hurt. He's never been knocked out. So, you know, imagine what that's going to do for my confidence if I'm the only one who knocks Anthony Dirrell out. You know, if I knock him out in this fight, that's what just keeps me going, because I know I can. I know whoever I put my hands on, I can hurt. It don't matter who it is. And I could do it in a variety of ways. I could do it from body shots. I could do it from head shots. I could do it from liver shots. I could do everything. You know what I mean? So coming into this fight, I know what I could do, and I know who I've been there with. He has a lot of experience, but I also have a lot of experience too. I'm 22 years old, and I've been professional for almost 7 years now. I've been in big fights. I've been in 12-round championship fights. I fought, great contenders. So as much experience he has, I have as well. And I know I can hurt him. I just know I can hurt him. You know what I mean? So it's not a matter if I can hurt him, but it's a matter of when I'm going to hurt him. So I'm extremely ready. This camp couldn't have gone any more better. And it's in a pay-per-view card in Los Angeles at the Staples Center. So the stakes can't be any more higher, man. I'm just ready for this.
Well, thank you very much. As a quick follow-up question, so, as you mentioned, you're only 22. There's sort of a rule of thumb in boxing that fighters, sort of a conventional wisdom that fighters start to develop their man strength much later, even when they're, say, 25, 26. Since we have seen you in the ring when you were, even younger than this before your suspension, I mean, are we going to see a stronger, more developed, are you still developing in the gym? What do you have to say about that topic?
Oh, definitely. That's why I'm so confident for this fight because, just in the sparring sessions, man, this camp alone, I felt the strongest I've ever felt in my whole camp, in my whole life. You know what I mean? That's why I know when I'm going to catch Anthony Dirrell, I'm going to put him away because I feel extremely strong. I've been, these past couple of weeks, last week I did 15 rounds in sparring. I think it was last Friday. It was 16 rounds in sparring with 4 different guys. So I know I'm ready for this. This is the strongest I've ever been in my life, and I just can't wait.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for your time, and good luck next week.
Thank you, bro.
All right, at this time, David, we know you're very busy and continue to prepare for September 28th, your matchup against Anthony Dirrell at Staples Center. That'll be the co-main event of the pay-per-view event here in Los Angeles. David, if you have any final thoughts as you continue your preparation.
I just want to thank everybody, for the opportunities. The opportunities I've been put in, especially Al Heyman, Samson Lukowicz, especially my father, Jose Benavidez. Everybody's been there in the corner with me. Even after those mistakes were made, they still treated me really good. Nothing has changed. And like I said, this is the biggest fight of my life, fighting at the Staples Center, and I can't wait. And I guarantee you, there will be a new WBC World Champion come September 28th. And thank you so much for everything.
Thank you very much to David Benavidez. We greatly appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing David during fight week next week. Now let's turn our attention to one of the undercard bouts that will be on the pay-per-view, as don't forget we are only 12 days away from Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view from Staples Center. This young man has an impressive record. He's undefeated, 24-0, 16 wins coming by way of knockout. He's continuing the great tradition of Mexican-American fighters from the state of Texas. Another rising star looking to break into the title ranks. He's a top 140-pound contender. He has went ahead and rattled off 8 straight knockout victories since moving up here to 140, most recently having knocked out Juan Jose Velasco in 2 rounds in May back on Fox, and he's going to fight his toughest challenge to date in the fellow unbeaten Basir Akhmedov. He's undefeated, 24-0, 16 wins coming by way of knockout. Training in the Bay Area under the guidance of esteemed trainer Virgil Hunter. Please welcome from San Antonio, Texas, the undefeated Mario El Azteca Barrios.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Mario.
Appreciate you guys having me.
Mario, if you have any opening comments as to how training camp has been and your excitement level as you build towards Saturday, September 28th.
Yeah, I mean, I feel, of course, as a fighter, every training camp, feels like the best one. But, I mean, this one, really, I mean, it's been a great camp. We left no stone unturned, during this preparation for this fight. I'm aware, this is my biggest opposition to date. And, I'm excited to be competing, for the vacant WBA world title.
Now, if we have the medium if they have questions for Mario Barrios, now is the time, and we will open it up for questions for Mario Barrios.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question at this time, please press star 1. If you have a question at this time, please press star 1. Our first question comes from John Whistler with the San Antonio Express News. Please go ahead.
Mario, how you doing?
Hey, John. Good hearing from you.
I just was wondering, from the moment that this fight has been made to now, what's been going through your head? I mean, has it been like a dream? Has it sunk in that you're actually fighting for a title?
Yeah, it's definitely sunk in. I mean, which is why we really made sure we've done everything this training camp in preparation for this fight. I'm well aware of the opportunity I'm facing. I'm well aware of the guy I'm going to be facing come fight night, and so I mean, if anything it's been a lot of motivation. It hasn't been no pressure whatsoever. you know, I mean, I promised San Antonio a world title a long time ago, and I mean that opportunity is now in front of me, and I mean nothing is going to get in the way of that.
Do you expect nerves to be a problem? You've been on some big cards and some big venues. Are you doing anything special to battle the nerves, or do you expect that to be a problem come fight night?
I don't feel no nerves going into this fight. You know, I've competed, you know, on some of the biggest fight cards, you know, with PBC. This is my third time returning to the Staples Center. It's always, you know, it's always a great turnout there, you know, especially, you know, with the Mexican American fans and just boxing fans in general. And, you know, I'm looking forward, you know, to being a very packed night there. But, I mean, no nerves going into this fight. I mean, nothing's going to stop me, you know, from going into the fight and dominating the way that we've been preparing.
Well, one more thing. What would winning this title mean to you and to join that select group of San Antonio world champions?
Man, it's one of the biggest, I think, accomplishments and biggest honors, you know, for me. You know, like I said, you know, taking a world title back to San Antonio, being, I think, you know, only the fifth person, you know, in San Antonio history that's been able to do that. And I mean, yeah, so it's gonna be an indescribable feeling. But you know, first things first, you know, I have to go out there and take care of business next Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Our next question comes from Jeremy with Fansided.com. Please go ahead.
Hi, Mario. Thanks for taking the time to talk. Obviously, being in the super lightweight division, it's loaded with talent, whether you're talking Jose Ramirez, Josh Taylor, Prograis, and the list goes on. For maybe some of the people that aren't familiar with you, what do you think stands out about your style of fighting? What do you think you bring to the table that's going to catch people's eye?
You know, Jeremy, I think, you know, I mean, not being full of myself, but I think I could call myself, you know, an all-around fighter. And then, I mean, you know, given my size in this division, you know, I'm, you know, one of the biggest probably currently. And, I mean, you know, I use my size to my advantage. You know, I can box very well on the outside. You know, I work well off my jab. But, you know, also, you know, growing up, you know, in Texas and having, you know, a good amateur background as well. I mean, growing up, you know, I really learned how to fight on the inside, you know, just very, you know, very, I guess you would say Mexican style, you know, where I would brawl, you know, so I'm able to box and brawl, you know. When people ask me about my style, I tell them I'm a boxer puncher. I mean, because, you know, I'm not just a power puncher, you know, my last 8 fights have been stoppages. But, you know, it's not like I'm just going out there and just winging shots and just, you know, catching, you know, lucky shots. Every fighter that I've stopped, you know, they've been stopped in, you know, different ways, you know, with different punches. So, I mean, I think, you know, this fight is going to continue, you know, to show you the boxing fans, you know, about my presence, you know, in my division and just, you know, in the sport alone.
You talked about your size. I mean, you are large for the division. Akhmedov is obviously several inches smaller. You're going to have height on him. You're going to have reach. Do you find that those measurables make a difference when you're in fight? Do you feel an advantage when you have a height advantage or a length advantage? I know some people say that they don't feel one. Do you feel more empowered having a size advantage?
You know, actually, I mean, I would always, you know, prefer fighting somebody, you know, that was closer to my height. You know, a lot of times, you know, when I was early in my pro career, I would fight some guys that were they were real short, you know, almost too short. And that actually presents a lot of trouble a lot of times. But, I mean, Akhmedov, you know, he's a good height. You know, he's not too short, you know, not too tall. You know, so, I mean, whether, you know, I'm fighting on the outside or, you know, or whether it becomes, you know, a very busy inside fight, I'm ready for either one of those.
Great. Thank you very much, and best of luck to you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Our next question comes from John Cutney with Reddit Boxing. Please go ahead.
All right. So, as you've already discussed, you know, you're on a great knockout streak. I know, I'll just say early in your career, when I saw some of your early fights when you were very young, I didn't know what to make of you, but again, you're on this 8-fight knockout streak. You really seem to gather a lot of momentum. I'm just wondering if you can talk about what the last few years of your career have been like, if it was just a maturation process, if everything has sort of started to click in your style, or, you did just need a certain amount of time to develop in your career.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination, of everything. I mean, of course, when I first started, I was 18 years old when I turned pro, and I turned pro at 124. So, I was very new. I was just, most of my fights, just going out there, just, depending on, my length and power, to stop fighters. Where, as opposed to now, I really, especially under the guidance of Virgil Hunter, I really, gained an insight, to all of the little things that matter in this sport, which, when I started working with Virgil about 3 or 4 years ago, it really showed me a lot, because he was able to take me to that, to that next level, that world championship stage, which is where we're at. I mean, I think just time, now, being with Virgil and, just, maturing overall has been the biggest factors for me.
Okay, so one more question. So your opponent, Akhmadov, is only 7-0. And over the last, 10 or 15 years ago, that might have seemed crazy for him to be fighting for a title. But over the last few years, we've seen a rise of Eastern European fighters, some of whom come in guns blazes early in their career, like Lomachenko, fight for a title early on and have some success. Other fighters, not so much. So just wondering if you can give your assessment of Akhmadov, in general, and, being, again, an Eastern European fighter with relatively so few fights.
Yeah, Akhmadov, he has an impressive amateur resume. He has the experience coming in with him. But, for, one of the first times going into a fight, I'm actually, the veteran. So, of course, the pros and amateurs, they're two different ball games. And come fight night, I'm going to use everything that I've learned in my past 24 fights. And I'm going to put everything to use. Again, I'm not saying I'm overlooking Akhmadov. I'm expecting, the best version of him, that has possibly ever showed up. But, like I said, I've had a great camp. I know I'm ready, given any kind of fight that he wants.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good luck with your remaining preparations. Good luck next Saturday.
Appreciate it, John.
Our next question comes from John Whistler with San Antonio and Express News. Please go ahead.
Hey, Mario, it's John again. Have you, by any chance, I know you said you had kind of a relationship with John Michael Johnson. Has he talked to you about fighting for a world title? Have you talked to him lately at all?
No, I haven't spoke to him in a while. Just, aside from, little comments that, that he will post, on anything I post. But, he gets his support, which, means a lot, especially coming from, just, my hometown.
All right, is your family going to be out there? Will Selena be out there? I imagine they will be.
Yeah, everybody, all my family, my sisters, my parents, they're all going to be there, and then, even, just a lot of friends and family, they're flying in for the fight.
About how many do you expect?
There's quite a bit. It's hard to even say.
Well, with Akhmadov being 7-0, and there's some people that bother you at all, that people say that maybe this isn't that legitimate.
No, it doesn't bother me at all. I know my placement, in my division, and I know this fight, it is a world title, and it's just gonna, propel me, even closer, to fighting, it's just gonna. Champions.
Has this been your goal, your dream? Since when did you start fighting as an amateur?
I started boxing when I was 6 years old. As soon as I turned 8, I started competing. So, it's always been a dream, but now that I'm here, it feels surreal. But again, I'm going to take this opportunity, like I said, there's nothing that's gonna get in the way of me in this world title.
That surreal feeling will probably dissipate once you get hit a week from Saturday.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course, no doubt.
Once you get punched in the nose, everything goes out the window then.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's when all the work falls into place.
Yeah. Thanks, Mario. Good luck to you.
Thanks.
Our next question comes from Carlos Toro of Fightful News. Please go ahead.
Hey, Mario, thanks so much for being on this call. You mentioned in the past, that there would probably come a point where you might have to think about moving up to 147 pounds, but that time hasn't arrived yet. And I wanted to ask, is this fight being for the WBA title, was that sort of, incentive for you to try and stay at 140 pounds a little longer, or was that not always the plan to stay at 140 pounds through the rest of the year?
That was my plan originally, with the move up, to try to dominate and to try to fight for as many of the world titles, as I possibly could. Right now I'm still making the weight comfortably. That goal, is gonna remain the same. There's no doubt, I'm gonna move up to welterweight eventually, but that time it isn't now.
In this very, very loaded division that has, as it was mentioned, Regis Prograis, Jose Ramirez, Josh Taylor. Do you look at this fight and the platform that you're on, being on pay-per-view on such a big event, as sort of a statement fight to those aforementioned champions and saying that you've arrived and you have your case being made for being one of the best junior welterweights in the world?
That's exactly how I look at it. Winning this fight. I feel I've really proven myself. My past few fights, but this one for sure. It's gonna put all of the world champions on notice. That I'm right there. I'm right there knocking on the door. To be fighting them next.
Thanks, Mario. Best of luck on September 28th.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Cameron Buford with the LA News Observer. Please go ahead.
Hey, Mario, this is Cameron Buford. How you doing, big guy?
I'm doing good. How are you, Cameron?
Oh, I'm well, sir. You touched on it a little while ago. We talked about it personally, but I want you to explain to the rest of the writers here what this Mexican-style boxing means to you. And how does it influence your style, your boxing style, in the job you put on for the fans?
Yeah, I feel everyone's general description of Mexican style, is sitting there, and pretty much just brawling. Of course, the body punches as well, and just being able to mix it up, and to keep that pressure, and there's no doubt, that I possess those abilities, as well, as being a boxer. So given even the fight day, close to Mexican Independence Day, which is actually which is actually today. So it's very close, and yeah, I'm excited, to go out there and put on, for my people, for my city, and just the boxing fans in general.
Okay, thank you. And considering your opponent, what are you looking for to capitalize against this guy come fight night?
Like I mentioned, he has a great amateur pedigree. So he has that experience, but he doesn't really have that experience in the pros. So given which Akhmedov shows up, how he chooses to fight, I know that I'll be able to adjust and use all of the tools that I've learned in my past 24 fights against him.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And Mario, before we go ahead and get ready to let you go, we know you're very excited for your matchup against Fatih Akhmedov on September 28th. It is a big night of action from Staples Center live on pay-per-view. Final comments, Mario, as you get set for your matchup.
Not much. I mean, I appreciate, y'all having me. I appreciate the media, all tuning in, asking their questions. And, and thank you, to all the fans and supporters.
Greatly appreciate it, Mario. Thank you so much. We appreciate him taking the time out of his very busy schedule. And now let's transition and close out the conference call with the champion, a man who is representing his hometown of Flint, Michigan, training in Las Vegas for this matchup. A two-time super middleweight world champion, having previously won the titles over Saki Obika, enters this fight on a 6-bout win streak. Won his title by winning a technical decision over Avni Yildirim in February on FS1. His record, 33 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 24 wins coming by way of knockout. He's always in exciting matchups. I mean, he literally brings his best and brings everything that he has every single time he steps inside the ring. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the reigning and defending WBC super middleweight champion of the world. Here is Anthony the Dog Dirrell. Anthony, opening comments.
How y'all doing? Y'all can start with the questions. I'm just ready to fight. Been a long camp, been a great camp, and just ready to get this job done.
All right, well, as Anthony mentioned, we're now going to open it up to the media. If you have questions for the champion, by all means.
If you have questions at this time, please press star 1. If you have a question at this time, please press star 1. Waiting for callers to join the queue. Our first question comes from John Cutney with Reddit Boxing. Please go ahead.
Hi, Anthony. So we were just on with David before. Oh, hey, how's it going? Thanks for coming on. He's been very outspoken in saying that he's gunning for a knockout and he thinks he's going to knock you out, which is surprising to me since you've been in with so many good fighters. You knocked out Caleb Truex in 1 round, for instance. You never really seem to be hurt in the ring. I mean, how do you view when he says things like that? Do you think he actually believes? What's your take on that?
I think everybody going in there and look for the knockout. Does it happen every time? No. But you're going to go in there and look for the knockout. Boxers don't get paid for overtime. So, of course, we're going to go in there and say we're looking for the knockout. That makes everybody want you to knock them out. That's what I'm going in there for. I'm looking for the knockout. I think I do it every time. And I'm ready for the 28th. I'm ready to defend my title and be successful at it.
So you've been in with a lot of very good fighters over the course of your career. I just asked him if he viewed you as the toughest fight of his career. How do you rank the challenge of facing him compared to the rest of the fighters you fought in your career?
I think he's a good fighter. The toughest, I don't know. I haven't been in there with him. Styles make fights. You only can say how the guy is if you've been in there with him. But he's a tough guy. He's a tough kid. He's 22 years old. He's going in there to take what's mine, and I got to defend my title, of course, and I'll be successful doing that.
Okay, one final question. Fox is already talking a lot about Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez. Do you feel like you have something to prove? Do you think to some extent the network is already trying to pretend like this fight has already happened, he's already beaten you?
I never even heard nobody talk about David Benavidez, and if they talked about David, they talked about me too. It is. Of course, every fighter looks to the future. Going in there expecting to win, but it's a hard test for David. It's definitely hard, and I'm going in there knowing that I'm going to win. I know I'm going to go in there and do what I have to do to be victorious at the end of today.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, Anthony. I'm expecting a great fight. Good luck next week.
Our next question comes from Carlos Toro with Fightful News. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Anthony, for being on this call. Really appreciate it. When we're talking about a guy like David Benavidez, who's this young, very aggressive fighter who has tremendous power. When you look at a fight like that, a fighter like that, do you kind of view that maybe that there's still a lot of growing when it comes to fighting like that? And as a fighter with your levels of experience, do you see that maybe an advantage for you to sort of try to figure out, exploit maybe that inexperience against guys at the world level?
I mean, I think everybody has power, especially with 10-ounce gloves on. I don't know what kind of power he got. Every fighter he knocked out, he was supposed to knock out. Just like every fighter I knocked out, I was supposed to knock out. But like I said, I think, styles make fights at the end of the day. I'm going in there looking for the knockout. I'm going in there doing what I need to do to win this fight. If I don't get the knockout, I definitely can go 12. And I'm just prepared. I'm mentally, physically, and ready for this fight.
If I recall correctly, there was a point earlier this year where maybe there were some talks about retirement and that maybe you want to end your career with a title win. And now you've already got that title win. Is retirement or talks about retirement still somewhat in the back of your mind as you approach your fight? Or is that something that you've kind of put on hold for now?
I mean, you don't think of retirement in a fight this big. You think of the fight. You think of the task at hand. Was I thinking about retiring after the last fight? Of course. I'm getting older, and I want to spend time like kids. I'm not getting older enough where somebody's going to come in there and just whoop me or beat me. I'm going there prepared, fully ready for this fight, and I can't wait to it happen on the 28th.
Thanks, Anthony, and best of luck on September 28th.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question at this time, please press star 1. If you have a question at this time, please press star 1. Our next question comes from Jeremy with fansided.com. Please go ahead.
Hi, Anthony. Thank you for taking the time to talk. Obviously, with age can be a double-edged sword, whether it's you get older, the reflexes aren't quite the same, but at the same time, you have an abundance of experience. How are you going to use your experience to outthink David Benavidez?
I mean, you'll have to see on the 28th. I'm not going to sit here and talk about my game plan. You just have to see on the 28th. I know it's going to be a hell of a fight, especially with the guy that, within David Benavidez, he's coming to fight. And everybody knows from my previous fights, even my last fight, I'm coming to fight also, and that's not going to stop me. Age is nothing but a number. George Foreman did it at, 50? Bernard Hopkins did it at 50. I mean, it's you do it because you want to do it, and your body is allowing you to do it. So me being this age is not an excuse. I'm going to go in there and do what I need to do to win the fight.
You fought some very impressive boxers over the span of your career, whether it's Truex, Jack, Bika, etc. Where do you think David Benavidez stacks in there based on what he's accomplished so far?
I mean, I don't know. I have to get in there and fight him. I can tell you better after the fight, but right now, he was a champion. He knocked out people he was supposed to knock out. He did what he was supposed to do. He went 12 rounds with Gabriel, so twice. And I just feel I'm so much better. So, like I say, stop fight from there on the 28th, and all the talk is over with now. It's just a fight.
Thank you, Anthony, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Gail with Community Digital News. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Anthony. I had to look this up to make sure I was right. It looks like that you fought at the Staples Center 13 years ago. It's hard to believe it was that long ago. But you're certainly going to be in an arena where, most of the fans are going to be there for your opponent. Does that fire you up? Does it piss you off? How do you use that?
I mean, I don't use it any other way. It's just me and him in the ring. You can't use that. You use that, you're messing up your game plan. It's me and him in the ring. That's all that matters.
And he obviously has a big boxing family, so do you. I asked him this question. I'm going to ask you this question. How important is the family support to you, and what does it mean to you to have them there?
It's very important. My family been there through my whole career. I've been boxing almost 26 years, and they've been there in and out, ups and downs, blood, sweat, and tears. So I'm really thankful for them. Thankful for my wife, my kids even, watch my fights. So I'm really thankful that they're by my side and I got a family that I can depend on.
And I just have to ask this. We didn't hear breaking news, did we, that you're going to try to beat B. Hop's record and fight till you're 50? I didn't hear anything like that, did I?
Nah, you didn't. Not at all.
just checking, but we wouldn't mind. Good luck to you, sir, and all the best.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Cameron Buford with the LA News Observer. Please go ahead.
Hey, Dirrell. How you doing, sir?
All right.
You talk about, it's well known that you got the experience, the advantage over Barrios in this upcoming fight. How much do you believe
Benavidez
will play a factor, or Benavidez, excuse me. How much do you believe your experience will play a factor in this fight?
I think it'll be a big factor. I think I'm a little more polished in that area, and just go in there and stick to my game plan, and do what I need to do to win this fight, no matter how the win comes, as long as it comes.
When you're fighting, do you develop a dislike for your opponent at all, or is this strictly business with you guys? Or with you?
No, it's business. It is strictly business. There's no personal issues. It's business. You going in there, they're trying to knock you out, you're trying to knock them out. That's all it is. I have no animosity or anything towards David at all. I think him and his family are, good people. They're very respectful people, and that's good. But on the 28th, all that respect goes out the window.
Certainly, that's a mature outlook. With that being said, what are some of the things that you admire about Benavidez's boxing style, if anything at all?
Nothing. That don't even make no sense. What I admire is about somebody else's boxing style.
Well,
that I'm fighting.
As a boxer,
nothing.
No, as a boxer, where I was coming from with that, as a boxer, there might be some things that you admire about another boxer. I'm not saying he's better than you or going to beat you up because you admire him.
I mean, I'm fighting this guy. Why would I admire something about him? I don't admire nothing about him.
That's fair. That's fair. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Our next question comes from Leon Ross with Champ Sides. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now.
How you doing, Champ?
I'm all right. I can't complain.
All right. I wanted to ask you, it's been well documented that David Benavidez has been sparring Sean Porter. Do you feel that that's kind of a waste of time for him, or what are your thoughts on that as far as in relation to your fight with him?
I think he sparred Sean one time. I ain't for sure if he's sparring him, but he sparred him one time. That has nothing to do with me. Sean is 5'2", 5'3", maybe. I don't know how tall Sean is, but we don't even have the same fighting style, nothing. I mean, Sean can get somebody of it, not David. I don't think, but it's sparring at the end of the day. You spar who you can spar, and just get the experience. I guess I don't know.
Right, and speaking of experience, you noted that you have 25 years of experience going back to your amateur days, and obviously David Benavidez is only 22 years old. What's the key to your longevity in the game? I mean, this is one of your biggest fight. It's your most recent fight. What's been the key to your longevity?
Just fight smarter, not harder. I think my last fight was a little hard. I made it hard, but you just got to fight smarter, and hit and not be hit. That's the game. That's boxing, and And on the 24th, will it be a war? It might be. Would it be a boxing match? It might be. Like, I don't know. I'll have to determine that when I get into the ring.
And then my last question is, can you describe what Flint Strong means, and what kind of energy does that bring into the fight with you, being from Flint and being from a long line of great Michigan fighters?
Flint Strong is we're all the city. We're all one. We all support each other. From Mateen Clean, Miles Bridges. I mean, I can keep naming. You got a lot of people from Flint. Kyle Kuzma from Flint. You got JaVale McGee from Flint. You got Monte Morris from Flint. You got a lot of these athletes that rep Flint. If you look at any one of their tattoos, I bet they have Flint on them or 810. I mean, it's just us sticking together as a city as a whole and trying to make us better.
All right. Thank you, champ. See you September 28th.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much to Anthony Dirrell for taking the time out of his very busy training schedule. I know he is immersing himself, getting ready for his title defense against David Benavidez. Anthony, before we get ready to let you go, do you have any final comments ahead of your pay-per-view showdown on September 28th at Staples Center?
Just tune in. If you can't get there, definitely tune in. It's going to be a mega show. At the end of the day, the fans will win. The fans are, who we're coming out there to do this performance for, and at the end of the day, they will win. And just like I said, if you can't be there, order it. It's a heck of a card.
Thank you very much to the champion, Anthony Dirrell. Greatly appreciate also Mario Barrios and David Benavidez, and also thank the media for joining us and participating in this conference call. Don't forget, the event goes down on September 28th. It's Fox PBC pay-per-view from Staples Center in Los Angeles, headlined by the anticipated welterweight unification matchup between IBF champion Errol Spence Jr. and the WBC champion Sean Porter. And again, David Benavidez going head-to-head against the champion Anthony Dirrell. Also, Mario Barrios against Batyar Akhmedov, Josecito Lopez, John Molina Jr., a can't-miss night. We'll see you all next week during Fight Week. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes your call. You may disconnect at this time.